Matt Gannoners. We are back. Major championship season. Well, I was going to say major championship season is behind us, but we've got the British Masters still to come. We've got the BMW PGA still to come. The commonly accepted major season is behind us. How are you feeling? What are your thoughts? We'll dive into everything, obviously, but fresh out of the gates. How you doing? How you feeling?
Yeah, we have to give out, I would say, three-quarters of a major, TPC Portrush. So, nonetheless, a major is still in the title. So it got the job done. I thought it was a fun watch because there was cool visuals. It wasn't the greatest golf course in the entire world. I have no real beef. I'm kind of kidding, but I had fun. I always have fun waking up at 3 to 7 a.m. in the morning to sweat golf, to watch golf. So it was lovely. How much did you watch? I know Scottie was kind of running away with it over the weekend, so some of our picks weren't really in the mix per se. So, how much did you take of Portrush?
I partook in a vast majority. I would say I wasn't up, I wasn't waking up at 1, 2, 3, 4 a.m. I was getting going about between the 6 to 7 a.m. hour, I would say, Thursday, Friday. And then hold on, I got some microphone issues. Do I still sound good?
Yeah, you
Am I
sound fine.
still
You
good?
sound
All right,
fine.
we had a loose
Yeah,
microphone. It was kind of all over the place,
loose
but
mic is dangerous, as we've been there before.
yeah,
Loose
we've
mic
had
is
those issues before, but we're locked in now. So yeah, Thursday, Friday, up early, saw probably the back nine of the early starters, and then the full round of the afternoon guys, and then Saturday, Sunday. Just because, to your point, it wasn't like there was many guys far off the lead who you really felt like had a chance, especially with Scottie out front. Even Matt Fitz, like I going into the weekend, it was kind of clear that top tier of players, let's say guys in the top 10, probably the only ones who really had a shot. So yeah, I was up. I watched the full final rounds for everybody, and then I stayed locked in, even though it was clear that Scottie was going to kind of run away with it. First question, and I got many questions, many
I have
things
questions too,
to
so we'll go
discuss,
back and forth.
because I think we came on here on, was that Monday night last week, out there in beautiful Portrush. I declared it not a top 100 golf course in the UK for testing professional golfers. And I said at the time, and I hope there's no beef with the great people of Northern Ireland, the great people of Portrush. I loved it. I'll be back. I would recommend, if you're planning a trip and you're thinking about going up to Northern Ireland versus Ireland, get up there. It's maybe the most beautiful place. Would you, of the places that you've ever been in your life, where would you rank the greater North Coast Portrush region?
I would say it's definitely in the top 5, truly, and I would also put Largs in that top 5, but, Hawaii did crazy things to me, so I would put that up there as well, but I know you've been to more
Where would you
places
rank
in
Louisville?
Louisville. I don't know if there's enough numbers, but
Okay,
we've invented words. We might be able to invent numbers in the future, so we'll get back. I'll get back to you on that one.
fair,
I'm
fair.
actually going back to Louisville second week of September, and I'm like trying to channeling my demons with Louisville right now. So I booked a trip today. Actually, it's funny you say that.
Okay, well, the traffic laws are strictly
I know
enforced
the
there,
traffic
so
laws.
proceed with caution. And I say all this because none of this was, when I said it wasn't a top 100 golf course in the UK, was for testing professional golfers. Not a diss on the area, not a diss on if you get the chance to play the course, not a diss on the Cliff of Nations and the beautiful views
No,
from the course, not a diss on any of that. It was when we were there, we saw a golf course that simply didn't ask questions across the bag for professional golfers. And what was confusing to us was we played multiple courses within a 10-minute drive, some within an hour drive of Portrush. And it was so confusing why it was the softest golf course in the region. Why it wasn't like you couldn't make firm and fast golf courses in that area. Sometimes there's just conditions and rain and stuff. A vast region can't make a firm golf course. That was not the case. We saw firm golf courses within a 10-minute drive. That was concerning stuff. And I think that ended up playing out on the week. And we'll touch more on like how that represented itself. But the question is, if a golf course requires 20 to 30 mile an hour winds to test golfers, is that a good golf course?
I was just gonna say like that. Portrush was not meant to be, not designed to be played in the weather that we got, and like that was our take. Like going into the week, like we're not gonna get great weather. Like it's gonna be a birdie fest. So gear up for it, and that ended up what happening. So I don't know. That's a really good question. Could it be a top 30 golf course if it requires a massive factor? Because there's plenty of golf courses in the world that are, for what they are, can be great in any weather. So I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna really say no because that's I know there's a lot of links golf courses that do require that, and it is what it is. But I'm gonna say no. I don't think
And I
it's
get, yeah, like that the weather is a part of designing and a part of a links golf course test. 100%. I understand that. But we've
not a
seen other
Troon.
links, not at Troon, and we've seen
Not a Troon.
Troon goes to another level, obviously, when the wind kicks up, and there's links courses where it goes to that, next degree when the wind is there. But I think we should be judging golf courses on their baseline, what they are, regardless of wind. Because if the wind's blowing
Yeah.
30 miles an hour, I can give you 100 links courses in the UK. They're going to be tough. Like you
Oh
go,
yeah.
we played them. You go over to
Anyone.
Port Stewart in the 40-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to be a tough golf course. So I struggle with the fact when the pushback of like, oh, Portrush would be better if the conditions, obviously 100%. It was pretty good on Thursday when the weather was a little bit more difficult. But I don't necessarily lean towards the way that like a course that requires 30-mile-an-hour winds to be a challenge should be considered a great golf course. And I think where this ended up playing out in how the tournament played, and I went back and listened to how we talked about the course and how we talked about Scottie on the pod last week, and obviously what we wrote up on the site, and like the concern that we had from how it was ultimately going to test golfers was not a serious test off of the tee. You don't have to hit full speed drivers. We saw a lot more like driver players using driver than maybe I would have anticipated. I thought we'd see a little bit more like irons off the tee, and we did see that in 3-woods and things like that. But players didn't have to swing hard at those clubs.
Right.
And I think when you look at a professional, if they're swinging 80% with the driver, obviously they're going to hit more
They're
fairways.
easing it over there. Yeah. There was
And
not that many like there was I mean when they did miss the fairway, there was eject city, but there wasn't many of that like over the weekend and like throughout the obviously we're not watching everyone who's 8 over par, but they don't deserve to be in the tournament anyway, but there wasn't as many ejections as there should have been or could have been if the weather was what it was, if the course was
but
X
I think
amount yards longer.
I think that's where the softness came into play because what we
Yeah.
saw, the cool thing, and when people were talking about like why Portrush is highly respected amongst the linksmen, is because it
Links.
does have pine-like rejection capabilities. And we say
Yeah.
pine-like rejection, we're talking about false fronts and false edges, where even if your ball lands 5 feet inside of that edge, it's firm enough that it's now hitting and going off of that
It's
edge. Like
crazy.
we saw almost none of that. The balls were holding up above the ridges. Even, and we talked about Valhalla on the podcast last week. Valhalla has some rejectable areas, but when we got to Valhalla, we saw a course that was so soft. The disappointment, and I'm almost certain they're going to go back to Portrush based on everything that is being discussed, just purely from like the vibes of what it means to Northern Ireland and the views. Like it's going to get another Open. It has to be firmer to truly test the players. You can't like the runoff areas are meaningless and the false edges are meaningless if guys can land it 1 foot left of them and not have to think to themselves, can I land it right here or am I going to
Right.
get pine rejected?
Right. No, I think this is a great time for you to talk to the RNA and we'll clip this. What is your goals for the Open of the future? What is your future plan for the best way to decide an Open championship that we talked about multiple times this week?
What if I was setting up an Open? What does it
Yes.
need to look like?
No. Like how you said all the players get to a site.
Yes. This is my
So
take.
talk about this.
Okay. If the Open goes back to Portrush or any other links that is determined to not be a true test of professional golf in calm conditions, and you and I are happy to go play all the links and fly over and assess
Hell
whether
yeah.
these are pro level links or if they're not. If it's determined that it's not, the Open will be scheduled over a 60-day period. Then they're going to announce ahead of time that like July 1st to the end of August, the Open may be played. It's going to
It
take
might
place.
be.
It's going to be played at some point. And let's be honest, like from July to August, the PGA Tour schedule, it doesn't really matter. Like if we have to move a playoff event, if we have to move I won't say the JDC, we can't touch the JDC, but if we need to move
Well,
any other
outside of
events,
that.
so be it. But players just stand by and receive a text message once we're within like 48 hours of the weather projecting 30-mile-an-hour winds or above. And then the Open is that played that day. And everybody gets notified on Twitter. We get notifications. It's like July 19th, the Open, second round. And then they play it on July 19th. And then if there's no bad weather again for 2 weeks, then the third round could be August 4th. But if we're going to go to these links courses that can't like stand up to the pro game and they need the weather, we got to play when the weather is. So that's my plan for the Open.
Yeah. A true like when the Open advertises forged by nature, the purest test of golf, that's what it will be. And there could be even a more logistically sound where everyone is in the UK for a week or 2 weeks at a time, and they wait because I know in that 2 week period there will be somewhere in England, in Northern Ireland, in Wales that has some crazy weather forecasted for like 4 days ahead of time. Bang! They notify everyone. Everyone gets over there. One round of practice at most, and they play the test. So
Because
we
like
have no ideas.
I just pulled up the Portrush weather, and the weather is worse for the next 10 days than it was for any of the days when the Open was.
I saw Willie playing this morning, and it looked like hazy and windy. I was like, "This is open golf. Like, come on."
Yeah, so if, basically there's another path. There's two paths forward for the Open in these types of situations. Plan it out so that we can, if like in this example, they would have been so much better off playing this week. And why couldn't we have done that? What do the players have nothing better to do? Like, oh, the
What
RNA
are they
has
gonna
to
do? Go
shell
to the
out for another.
3M?
The
Sorry,
RNA can
dude.
shell out for another week of accommodation. Like Mercedes has the money, Nikon, they're there, and TTD.
Nikon.
Like somebody will pay for this. And then we play the Open this week, and we would have got 20-mile-an-hour winds every day. And so, all this to say, respect Portrush, and we'll talk more about the tournament in a second. But if we're going to go to these links tests, we got to switch it up or make them play hickories. That's my other option.
Yes,
because
two options.
if give them the hickories, Scottie would still probably win. I think Scottie would be unbelievable with the hickories, but it wasn't. And we've said a million times, I judge how popular a tournament was or a golf event or just a golf situation based on are people texting me about it who aren't golf fans. Jers, I got 0 texts about the Open or what Scottie Scheffler did this week. None.
Yeah, that's it. Dude, we don't want that. That's a great parameter for the test of golf in a given week. So, yeah, I mean, it was what it was. We called it for what it was worth. We got a little bit of backlash on like seriously, like this is Open Championship golf, but we're always going to call it for what it's worth, and it turned out to be a pretty fair birdie fest.
I believe it was the 3rd easiest final round in Open Championship history. And I think the other frustrating thing
That probably includes St. Andrews in one of them.
Oh yeah, and when we and I think the Open, so it was the 153rd Open, so that's 3rd of all time is a lot.
That's a lot.
But the other thing that I think is where I like lower Portrush a little bit is what we also talked about on the pod last week, is that to protect the scoring, they were going to have to tuck the pins on the edges of the greens near the wannabe rejection areas, because in practice, the pins were in the middle of the green and guys were legitimately hitting it to 5 feet every single time. Like if they put these pins in reasonable spots, Jordan Smith, shout out Jordan Smith, on Thursday said that they were using Sunday pins on Thursdays. And the pins on Thursdays were very difficult. And it's like, they had to put the pins on the edges to keep the scoring below like 25 under par, I would say. And the problem with that became, mic down. We're having all sorts of loose mic situations here today. Where that made it a little bit like not that exciting to watch was every guy was hitting it to 20, 30 feet because you couldn't really go at the pins. And it became one of the, I guess, benefits to Portrush, and something we also talked about on the pod last week, was like strokes gain caddy and patience and not attacking the pins that you can't attack, and knowing that the par 5s are going to be free birdie opportunities and eagle looks if you just keep the ball in front of you. Don't do anything stupid. That's Scottie Scheffler, obviously strokes gain caddy #1. Shout out Ted. It made it kind of an uneventful watch because you just ended up with a lot of guys hitting it to 20 feet, and you end up with the top of the leaderboard where Scottie obviously has his career putting performance, but wins with spike putting. Houghton with spike putting. Harris English was spike putting. Chris Goddard was spike putting. Like it became who could make it from 10 to 30 feet because you really couldn't. There was no point of attacking the pins. Basically, there was no incentive for the players to attack because they were just like, I'll get my par 5s, not make a mistake, and go from there.
I honestly think even quicker than Valhalla, with no players on the course, this was the fastest we looked at the golf course and we're like, okay, it is this. And then you dialed it way quicker than I was. I thought at first the first walk around was going to be a little bit tougher, and then you're like, no, like this, it's going to be this, it's going to be this. And the more we walked, it was like, this is kind of a joke if it doesn't blow 35. And hit the fairways with Luston driver and hit it to 20 feet. And that's all it was.
Yeah, and I think like it would be sick in wind, and you can see when you're there.
Would be, yeah, for sure.
When we're watching on TV, like the design makes sense with the wind. Like some of those, there's a lot of elevated shots that you don't see at a normal links course, and obviously those are going to be much more difficult in windy conditions. Yeah. But it was also confusing because like We played golf in Port Stewart.
I was just about to say this. Yes.
This is a question for the geologists or the geographers
Yeah.
out there and the weathermen. If you're at the secret AI weather meetup in New York, let us know. Why was the wind in Port Stewart, which was legitimately a 10-minute drive west along the coast, every time we golfed there, it was like Armageddon winds. But we would then go either from Portrush or back to Portrush, and there was no wind at the same time. So there's something about up there too where the wind doesn't blow as hard in Portrush as it does 10 miles down the road, which is
And I'm
awesome.
sure it has its days where it's opposite too,
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
peninsula might block it, like you said, or that one massive like glass building to the left of the
Mhm.
Port Stewart Range blocked all the wind. One of the two, and yeah, but we played Port Stewart after a day of boots, and it was night and day with the wind. We were ready to gear up, have some potentially calm conditions for a tough test. We did not have that. It was a tough go around in the wind, but yeah, definitely weird.
I will say I have two of me golfing related statements that ended up tying into the Open that I didn't know at the time, but now I know.
Okay.
Number one, never ever. First of all, I don't golf enough to ever get mad at myself for anything whatsoever. But now I have two things that have added to that. One is Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler in the first round when it was windy at Portrush hit 5 fairways, 5 out of 28 fairways. So never get down on yourself if you're driving it bad in the wind, because we were driving it pretty bad in the wind at Port Stewart. That's okay, because the two
Yeah,
best players in the world combined to
that's
hit 5 fairways.
crazy.
So how could I get mad at myself for not hitting the fairway? The other one was Matt Fitz yesterday said that he's hitting his irons the best he's ever hit them, but because of that, he can't hit his driver. And I thought to myself, if one of the truly best golfers in the world can't figure out a way to do a swing that works with both their driver and their irons, how are any of us ever supposed to have a chance at this
And
stupid?
that's literally what you said too. You like, when I get my irons going, I can't drive it. When I get my driver going, I can't hit the irons. And we definitely saw that. That is hilarious that he said that. I didn't see that quote.
Yeah. So those are my two open related to how I now think about golf for myself. But speaking of Matt Fitz, speaking about, you gave me a shout out for dialing in how I thought the course was going to play. I owe you a shout out for honing in on Scottie Scheffler from the second that we walked on the property. You said on the pod last week that you were extremely confident in Scottie's chances, that you normally don't come on the pod and declare that Scottie is going to win. But that based on what you were seeing was ultimately a links test that was not a links test. It was played through the air. It was played from point A to point B. It had Florida golf, TPC sawgrass
Yeah.
vibes, just hit the fairway, hit your spots. And you said on the pod last week, who can hit their spots better than anyone? Scottie Scheffler. I ended up coming around as we spent more time there, and was on board with you that he was going to very much be in the mix, but I didn't necessarily expect him to win. And one of the reasons I didn't expect him to win was I thought he was going to have to make a lot of putts. I thought, for all the reasons that we talked about, hitting away from the pins, and no matter how good you are, even if you're Scottie Scheffler, you're going to be 10, 20, 30 feet away from these holes a lot. I did not expect Scottie to have the greatest putting performance of his career. He obviously did. He had the worst, one of the worst. I don't know if it's exactly the worst, but if you combine his off the tee and around the green, one of the worst of his entire career.
Crazy.
And he runs away and wins probably the easiest major ever for him. Shout out you for seeing that so clearly on a week where I don't think it wasn't like Pine where everybody was on Scottie necessarily. Why did you think that was going to happen? How do you think now that it took place? Did it play out the way that you thought? Did you think he was going to gain 8.4 strokes putting to win the tournament, driving,
Imagine,
hitting,
imagine I
hitting
was like,
less
yeah,
than 50% of the fairways? Scottie State of the Union.
yeah. I mean, did I expect him to putt like he did? No, but it was more just what you said. I saw this golf course and I was like, this is TPC Sawgrass in Northern Ireland. That's literally all it was. The water was the ejectable tropical bushes that were there. So avoid those. You're in position to hit a middle iron, hit a wedge to X amount of feet. It was simply the Sawgrass comp that I was really, really high on, and we know what Scotty can do there. Positional, hit your spots, and make some putts. I did believe that he would come around on these greens, and I was actually really confident in him winning an Open Championship, and this being his easiest Open Championship of his career in terms of course fit. So yeah, do I regret not betting Scotty at whatever number? No, but I kind of regret it being like this is the best number we're going to see on Scotty in a major in a long time, like what we saw last week. So that's the only thing I'm kicking myself for. Had a little bit of a sweat on Sunday, but it's all right. It's all right. The brain was in the right spot.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of Scotty related thoughts. One of them is I agree that once we saw that the greens were smoother, then
Mhm.
like that was the other thing about these greens. They weren't over in Scotland, the greens can get so
People were
baked. I mean,
complaining about them. Yeah,
yeah, we saw it at the Scottish Open. Like they get so
the
baked
sixth
and the
hole.
fescue is so fine that like the ball is
Yeah,
literally like slithering around and bouncing and like there's no such thing as a straight putt. These greens rolled really smooth and Scotty just got locked in. And I think we forget that at his core, Scotty's a Jersey man. Scotty's from the Northeast originally. And I was shocked to see, where do you think his second best, this was obviously his best major putting performance, actually was tied for his best major putting performance of his career. Where do you think the other one was?
best putting performance or best major putting performance ever.
Of his career. Yeah.
Um, not Augusta. I'm gonna say it was at 1 second. Was it at Valhalla when he played bad?
Torrey Pines. Is
Oh,
Scotty an oceanside slow greens putsman that we just didn't connect the dots? Jersey Shore, the ocean.
Jersey Shore.
Because we think about it
Wow.
as Texas, but this could be signs of something else.
What year was that when he
2021, OG Scotty.
OG Scotty that's when he was like a decent putter, and then he's a good putter now. Wow. Okay. I did not. Do you think Scotty is intimidated by Chris Gotterup? Is he?
No, no,
No,
I
not
think
yet.
he who I'm trying to think of golfers that Scotty would be intimidated by.
Not many. Haotong? We thought it could have been, but no.
They were
We
way
thought
too much boys. Haotong wanted to be boys
way
with
too
Scotty.
much.
Haotong
So
made a
bad.
very calculated decision. Haotong just could have gone in and been like, we've seen Haotong. First of all, I love Haotong.
Shout out.
Shout out Haotong. What a like the tournament was better because Haotong was up there. He never had a chance to win, but it was glorious that he was
He
there.
he made it Saturday afternoon. He was like, yeah, I know I'm not going to beat Scotty. I'm going to give it my best effort.
But he could have, like, we've seen Scotty on or Haotong on the DP and in other events, like where he kind of goes crazy. Like he's yelling, he's being a little obnoxious. I would say if you were playing with him in the final round, you would get bothered by that, like Haotong's style, which is, more power to him. You got to do whatever you got to do to win. I was a little worried he was going to annoy Scotty, piss off Scotty potentially, and Scotty was be like, "What is this guy doing?" He decided to become boys with Scotty so that now when he said that when he comes and plays the PGA Tour, they can practice together. Brilliant, calculated decision by Haotong to know he had absolutely no chance, and becoming boys with Scotty was the best use of his time yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, shout out Haotong. He's having a great year, one of the best years of his career. Obviously, they don't just give out Qatar Masters, and Haotong got one of those, and he almost got another Open Links specialist, Haotong Lee. So, shout out Haotong, great week from him. He was dialed for nearly 72 holes.
His swing he is a generational fadesman when he gets it slotted.
When he had to, there was one situation where he had to hit a draw, and the booth was like, "I'm not sure Haotong knows how to hit a draw," and I was like, "You're honestly right. I don't know if he knows how to hit a draw, or even if it would work."
Brad Faxon was actually being like borderline rude in the fact that all Haotong could do was fade. I was like, if
Yeah,
Rahm was out here fading every hole, it would be like, oh, look how John Rahm hits his fade like on
yeah,
demand. That's so good.
consistent.
Taking out the left side of the golf course. And every time Haotong would fade it, they'd be like, oh, all this dude can do is fade.
Yeah,
Like, give me a break.
yeah. We need a Haotong Pavone duel, generational fadesman.
Pavone fired his coach, who is Blackburn.
After the week,
We saw them in deep conversation.
wait, you have to talk about this.
I thought you saw this. I meant to send it to you. Yeah, he fired Mark Blackburn. He tweeted about it. I'm
Wait,
like, let me confirm this. Let me confirm this.
what were they talking about?
Yeah,
They
so
were trying to develop a shot that took out the no, that didn't take. Oh, that they were trying to develop a shot to play in left to right wins. That's what they were
Yes.
trying to develop. And his coach was like, "Dude, you're a good golfer. You've won on golf courses. You hit a massive fade." And Matt Pavone was like, "No, I need to get better." So,
Yeah, this
so
was on 5. The castle's in the distance. A beautiful moment for considering anything. Like if you're this is where I have so many takes from this
so
week.
many things.
Like Scottie was questioning before the week what matters in the life basically, and I declaring that like nothing matters effectively, and that like being the best golfer that's ever existed means nothing to him, and it's literally stupid. If you were a person in a moment of processing, of thinking, trying to understand yourself, standing on the 5th green in the 6th tee box at Royal Portrush is an excellent spot. So it's possible Scottie had like a transcendent experience in this area. I bring this up because that's where Pavs was in a deep dive, realizing he needed to have a right to left shot in order to succeed in golf and to win majors. And Mark Blackburn was talking to him like, dog, no, hit your face. Like he literally said, you've won on difficult golf courses before. Like you can do it.
Faded every
And
time.
Pavs wanted no piece of it. And then Pavs played terrible. And yesterday, after the round, he tweeted, after just under a year of collaboration, Mark Blackburn and I have mutually agreed to bring our work together to an end.
This is incredible. I can't believe he didn't say it. That is so funny because we saw it all go down. They were bickering back and forth because of the shot. That is so good. And all overseeing the Cliffs of Nations. Pavs was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Looked over to his left, saw the cliffs, and it was a wrap.
He was like, because when you stand out there, you just think of like history and like that in the grand scheme of things, this small moment in which we are here, that like the history, if you could just feel the history.
No.
He was standing there thinking to himself, life isn't worth living only hitting straight balls. I need to learn how to hit the right to left shot. It hit him in that moment. Mark Blackburn didn't get the senses, and he's out.
Good call. You're literally right, because when I was over there looking at the Cliffs of Nations, I like turned back to you and I was like, "Can you just tell me the history of Ireland, Northern Ireland political indifferences?" I just wanted to like change up the topic of conversation, and like, it's the Cliffs. They just make you think differently.
They really do. They really do. The castle's up there. It's I mean, viewpoint for all the things I've said about Portrush. I say it in the sense of challenging professional golfers, and if we need to schedule the next Open over 60 days so that we can have Portrush be what it's supposed to be, sign me up, because the views are incredible. But I had to note that for you, that Pavs had a moment of reckoning. We witnessed it, and now Mark Blackburn is gone. So Pavs might be live this week. The fired coach hitting the right to left shot angle. Be on the look at that.
Long and straight.
I have no idea how we got from talking about Scottie to talking about Pavs firing Mark Blackburn. But back to Scottie. Does this count?
3/4.
Does it count more than Colin at St. George's? Where does this rank in the counting of Opens?
Yeah, it's tough. I think they're equivalent because I think St. George's was a little bit better of a test, but Colin was like, that was the biggest luck box in the history of Open Championships. So I'm gonna go with equivalent because they counterbalance each other. 0.75 majors.
Let me just tell you the last.
Marido might have been 2 majors, but keep going.
Well, that's what, like this year. What are the majors? Because obviously DLF was a major, so shout out Eugenio. That's one. The Masters was a major. I'm not
always a major. Yeah.
I'm not gonna take away Rory's Masters. The PGA was a major, but well, what was the winning score? And for people listening, saying what are these guys talking about? Again,
PGA I think was 12 under.
Well, this is a question, because what I was going to say was we only give out majors in single-digit scoring conditions, but we'll give out majors if they're single-digit scoring conditions. We're there, and majors are being given, at least half majors, for sure. Scottie got to 11 under at Quail, but the next closest guy was 6. So it's not his fault that he was so much better than everybody else.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us. Sometimes I go through those days too.
Right. But especially when you don't care about golf like Scottie. On that topic, because I wanted to get your thoughts. This happened while we were there, but I don't think we didn't chat. We were boots on. We had stuff to do about this Scottie press conference. First of all, do you think he meant what he was saying? And second of all, whether he meant it or not, don't you think it's a massive advantage in the sport of golf to not care about the sport of golf?
Yeah, The more you care, the worse you play. That's 100% a fact. But I will say, I mean, being a podsman, as you know, sometimes you just ramble and go on and say things that like get taken out of context, or you don't like 100% say correctly. And I do it more than I wish I did. But I think it was a little bit of both. I think, yeah, Scotty's like cares about a lot of things in life more than golf, but also I think it did get taken a little bit out of context than what he really meant.
And it's like watching Scottie this whole week doing interviews and stuff, because after he said that, and then before the tournament, I saw an interview where he was basically like, I can't wait to start golfing again. Like, the last thing Scottie wants is to say something that becomes like a global, like people
Yeah.
outside of sports and golf are like talking about it. Scottie, that's his nightmare. That's the last thing
Yeah.
that he wants to be doing. So I don't like, maybe he then locks in more, he's like, let me just please get between the ropes so that I can golf. But I was just thinking that, like, first of all, profound things to say, and totally makes sense for who we've always known Scottie to be too. That's the other thing. I think when he said that, like, people who don't follow Scottie as closely were like, oh, what's this guy talking about? Scottie said largely the same things forever. Like, every press conference ever, he's like, I don't really care about being number one. Not like, I'm not out here trying to be the greatest golfer that's ever lived. Like, I care about my family, and that's all that matters to me. This wasn't new from what he was saying. He just said it in like a different way. But I just couldn't help but think, like, he's already better at golf than everybody, purely on skill. We've talked about this before. Strokes gained total, number one. Strokes gained caddy, number one. Strokes gained dog, number one. And now he doesn't feel any pressure because it doesn't matter to him. How are they supposed to beat him?
That is 100% true. And speaking of strokes gained caddy, I just confirmed that there are no caddies in the World Golf Hall of Fame. The caddies have their own Hall of Fame. Does Ted deserve to be in the World Golf Hall of Fame? I think yes.
1,000%. If he's not in the Golf Hall of Fame, shut down the Golf Hall of Fame, because like, he's a key piece of success in the game of golf. What's the point of a museum?
I thought to myself how amazing Ted was. I think it was on Sunday when Scotty was asking him a question, and Ted's response was like, "Hell yeah, bro! Like right at it, bro." And that made me think to John Rahm's caddy. In that same situation, he's giving him a number, and he's like, "This is a good one, buddy. Good number, buddy. Hit it right here, buddy." There's a massive difference between those two ways to say things. And I think if John Rahm, we've talked about this before. If John Rahm had Ted Scott or John Rahm had anyone else, it would be a massive difference in his recent success. But Ted Scott just like chillness with Scotty, like, yeah, bro, like, yeah, hit the shot. You got it.
Do
You're
you
good.
think if Ted Scott caddied for Rory, that like, let's say tomorrow we wake up, breaking news, Ted Scott's now caddying for Rory. What happens going forward? Because I asked this in the context of Rory. We've talked about this also many times. Like, it was amazing to see Rory out there with the people of Northern Ireland. Like, all great stuff. Rory is not patient enough or strategic enough to beat Scottie at a course like Portrush. Rory doesn't care enough. Like, he wants to just nuke it, and he doesn't have a caddy with him. He has his boy, and his boy's like, whatever, man, just fucking do it. It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah, bro.
And good for Rory. And that works over like a vast, like, it works for him. And at a place like Augusta,
when you have the skill set of Rory McIlroy, it works.
Yeah. And if you want to live your life just chilling with your boys because you're one of the best golfers ever, and you have unlimited money, awesome. I'm just saying that, like, if that switched and tomorrow all of a sudden Ted Scott was able to get in Rory's mind and like mold him into a more of a patient player, and now Scotty has to have any other caddy, he can have whoever he wants, but he cannot have Ted Scott. What does the next like 5 years of majors look like?
That's one of the best questions I think I've ever been asked. I think Rory. I mean, well, if this happens, Rory's mindset is changing. He's no longer going after cool courses only. He's there to win. He's there to win, and obviously he has the skill set to do it. And I really do think Scotty's also really good at golf and would figure it out and have
Oh no.
the
We've lost Jers in the midst of his. Oh, we can hear you. You're frozen. We've lost Jers in the midst of his
margins.
Oh, you're back.
You hear me?
You're back. We lost you early in the take about how you felt about the Rory Ted Scott future, and then you were saying Scotty would figure it out, and then you're about to say something.
Okay, I think Scott.
What are the chances of that?
Between Scotty and Rory?
Again, we lost you. Third time's the charm. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I think the margins are really big right now between Scottie and Rory, but I think it would Scottie would still be better, but it would be like razor thin, super razor thin. Like every week was a duel.
Yeah. I mean, it's like hard to even think about because Rory would never accept this deal because Rory doesn't
Right.
like Rory values being out there with his boys and winning every once in a while, especially now. Like he's has already told us that after Portrush, that what matters to him is the Ryder Cup, winning on the road. Like Rory will be locked in for that. But that's
Yeah.
perfect for vibes. That's the perfect time to have Harry on the bag. And then Pebble is the next time Rory told us that he was gonna try to win a major. So be on the lookout for that, Rory at Pebble in 2027. But it was just like watching them play and having been out there and seeing how the course was going to play. Rory was just, and to your point about the skill set, like Rory can't hit fairway or get the ball in play with the precision that Scottie does. But Rory's just impatient.
Dude,
Like
being a
Rory
drawsman is not good. Like you don't want to be a drawsman off the tee. Like it's not 2003.
No.
I know it very well too. Like when Rory's hitting that like low fade, that fairway finder, he's so elite. He doesn't do it enough.
That's what Ted Scott would say. He'd say, hit the bullet fade 3-wood off the tee. What do you do?
Like Chris got her up. Yeah.
Why, no one's making Rory try to hit a high hook off of every tee at Portrush.
No.
Like someone
No
could
one.
say, "Hey Rory, what about the low bullet fade that you're really amazing at? Why don't we do that
Yeah.
this week?" But like no one's that doesn't matter to Rory. He's not there for that, which is
No.
fine. But that's the reality of the situation.
He
And when you're
thinks
there,
hole
you see
8
that
at
thing.
Hollywood or hole 7 at Hollywood every time in his brain. Whatever hole that
Yeah.
was.
Like, and that's the thing. Rory plays great. It's not like Rory wasn't in the mix. It's not like Rory couldn't have won. Rory overcame a lot of the like things I think that if you were worried about Rory last week and how he performed, the pressure of the crowds, he was thriving with the crowds.
Yeah,
like
hell yeah.
that wasn't an issue for him at all. His issue of why he didn't win at Royal Portrush was because his decision making made no sense, and he couldn't hit the ball in play off of the tee. He wasn't even trying to hit the ball in play off the tee. Like he was in the grand scheme of things, but from a strategy perspective, he was not.
No.
He wasn't giving himself the best chance of doing it. Versus Scottie's doing it every single hole.
Yeah, Scottie's not scared to take less than driver off the tee. I mean, Rory's not either, but Scottie does it at a much higher rate and a more consistent rate. You aren't shafted Rory last week. It was 1-2 with these.
That was it. I thought it was the squarest bet I'd ever heard of when you bet dual forecast Scottie and Rory. But like, do you consider that Vic lappable based on how it played out, or did it play out? I mean, you like 1 and 2 should play out.
No, I mean, how often does Rory and Scottie are 1 and 2 on a hole 10 on Sunday? Almost never. Yeah, and I mean, I gave me a sweat. I had a Sunday sweat. Like that's what we sign up for. You told me that they're 1 and 2 on hole 10 on Sunday. I'm taking that 10 times out of 10, and then I believe it was a hole 10 or 11 when Rory went long, and then.
But that's the perfect example. Like I get that Rory needs to attack in that moment. Like at the end of the day, he was cooked before that. Like right. But if you want to have any chance of winning the tournament, you can't smoke it over when they cut back to Rory and he was behind the dune on 10 on the other side of it.
I was like, how is he that far back?
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah, because 10 is the longest green in the history of greens too. We said that, and he was so far back. And I mean, I can't be mad. Like it was just a bad swing. I think he hit it thinner, caught a flyer. It wasn't meant to be, but it gave me a sweat. I had a 25-1 live on Sunday. So
I think that was one of the big takeaways of the week for me, especially then Rory's quotes afterwards. He's like, no one can catch Scottie. Like Scottie's too good at golf and will never like be like Scottie. It's like he isn't optimizing his strategy and Scottie is. So like, I don't know how you can honestly say that you're giving it your best chance.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%.
But I was happy that Rory performed the way that he did to at least be up there. And I was just like, to me, it feels like a missed opportunity. Like was anybody beating Scottie? Was Scottie gaining 8.4 putting? Probably not.
No.
But Rory also putted well. How many strokes did Rory gain putting? Rory gained 4.8 putting. It was that he was so average across the rest of the board. And it was because he was always hacking out of the shit.
Yeah, he cannot get any momentum in play. Like he would have stretches of really getting it into play, and then once he made that birdie, made those two. Like even on Saturday, everyone was tweeting Rory's 3 under through 4. That was Saturday. Rory's 3 under through 4. And he has I knew he had the drivable par 5 and the drivable par 4 5, and then hole 7, which is the easiest par 5 ever. Like I was like, he's not gonna birdie these holes. He's gonna be a 3 under max, go after hole 7, and then he like turned, I think, at 3 under. So
Do you
couldn't get the
think
momentum.
Scottie was so disgusted by number 12 that he didn't birdie it the first 3 days out of spite, and then he birdied 16 the first 3 days because calling 16 calamity, that you can't call that, it can't be calamity corner anymore. Guys were hitting at the green every time, and even if you missed the green down to the right, it was the easiest chip ever.
Yeah, no one really like went down the massive cliff.
I didn't see
Because
any calamities, not one.
zero calamity. They need 35-mile-an-hour winds. That's what they need.
But yeah, I was the fact that Scottie won by, when he was up by like 7 and he hadn't birdied 12 yet, when every other guy was like birdieing or eagling, I was like, this dude is running away. And another Scottie moment that I think speaks to, because again, everybody knows the stats of Scottie. They speak for themselves. There's nothing like I can say about Scottie Scheffler statistically that will, it's unbelievable, all of it. Even when he was making a huge mistake on 8, the way he reacted to it was so perfect. He, before the ball had almost even rolled back to his feet off of the face of the bunker, he turned to Ted and so calmly said, let's just chip this next one out sideways. Like his brain instantly just went to, okay, that was dumb. Like how do I not make this worse? Just like, this sucks, but it is what it is. There, and then the next hole he makes birdie. He steps up to the next tee, rips driver, absolute smoked it down the middle, even though he hadn't been driving it that good. And when he pulled driver on the 9th tee, I was like, ooh, if he got up in the face of the bunker or hit it into the rough, like something could happen here. Nope, stripes it down the middle, easy birdie. His mentality is what's the best of any of the golfers beyond any of his other skills. I genuinely believe that.
He's comedy bounce back birdie player. It's so insane how often he does it. We talked about that during the week, and the up and down he had from, I think that was 11. Oh yeah, all the up and downs all weekend were just unreal. Like he was getting.
How do you get? We were in those deep lies over in Northern Ireland. It's impossible to like hit the ball cleanly. How does he hit it so cleanly every time?
I must be hanging out with Xander. That's the only way I could say. Insane.
Did you hear? And shout out to Scottie on the prep. I think I heard this. I think Brandel said this on Golf Channel, that apparently in the weeks leading up to the Open, because Scottie always felt like he didn't chip well across the P, and he didn't chip well this week. He had them at his home course, like basically get a bunch of dirt and like pack it down super tight so he could have his personal like chipping off the tight light practice area, because he didn't think the bent or the Muta down there in Texas was tight enough. That's prep.
That is prep beyond imagination. But for someone who chips well across the P, I get where he found it, because you can make it happen. You can definitely make it
happen. Final Scottie thoughts is obviously now everybody's talking about Scottie and he's Tiger Woods, the greatest player ever. All makes sense. I was just thinking about the fact though that like this is different. And when I say what I'm about to say, this is definitely on the far like end, the upper tier of this. But like Jordan Spieth in 2015 was a golfer beyond belief. People were like, we've never seen anything like this. The next Jordan Spieth is the next Tiger Woods. And he played a very different style of game, obviously, but he won majors in 2. He won, let's see, hold on. Why is this not coming up? Major championship winners.
Won a lot quickly.
Won a lot quickly. You go back and look at his stats from those times. Like he was all green Xander to the extreme. Like he was literally good at everything. Unbelievable player.
Do you think he knew that he was all green Xander? Do you think he called himself that?
Probably. He probably knew. He wins the Masters in 2015, wins the US Open in 2015. Should have won the Masters in 2016, wins the Open in 2017. So he won 4 majors within 3 majors within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 starts. Brooks obviously had his insane run where he won 1, 2, 3, 4 majors within like a 10 major stretch. Early Rory won all of his majors, and then Rory had 4 so fast, and then to get his 5th obviously just happened a decade later. Like no one in those moments was saying, what if these guys never won another major? What if these guys just didn't end up doing what we think they were going to do. I say that thinking that Scottie is going to do what we think he's going to do, which is win a lot of majors and continue to be an amazing golfer. But I just wanted to freeze in this moment and go, what if he didn't? What if, like, is there a world where Scottie goes on some sort of stretch, especially at the US Open, because that becomes the key question now, the career Grand Slam, the thing that Rory chased forever. Scottie's not been good at the US Open. They're the toughest tests for him. Which is, even last week we said that this Open was going to be way easier than any US Open that he had faced recently. Is there any world where we look back in 5-10 years and go, damn, remember how hot Scottie was and now he like slowed down? Or is it just going to continue?
No, I'm definitely probably taking the minority take of this. I do think there's a world where he slows down. I don't want to say never wins again because that'd just be like a stupid, ignorant take. But I think he definitely could slow down, and it's because look at his golf swing. There's something could go wrong. Like it would if something went wrong, no one would be that surprised. It'd be like
so you're like, we wake up and like Scottie's swing that's always been so crazy, like turns out to actually be crazy, and then you can't like sustain it.
right. Like I don't think that's that insane of a take because I remember someone brought that up like when Colin was winning and Scottie was Colin at the end of winning.
No one thought Colin was going to be a terrible golfer.
And when Colin was at the end of his winning and Scottie started winning, they're like, all right, Colin versus Scottie in 10 to 15 years, who do you take winning majors in the future? And like, I took Colin because just the golf swing, it's repeatable. It's going to be there. Like, look at Miguel Angel. It's there. It's there. I know it's a different golf swing, but it's repeatable forever. Is Scottie's golf swing repeatable when he's 38 years old? I'm going to say no. I will.
Okay. I will say, first of all, I respect a hot take and I appreciate you. You didn't know that I was going to bring up that topic, and you've got a take ready to go, which is a true takesman mentality. And I think where I would agree with you potentially is that like he already had neck injury last year. Now he won with his neck injury, but like a lot of times when golfers end up slowing down, Tiger Woods, it's because of injury, like that slows them down. And I do think Scottie's like motion requires a very limber like motion. So sure, potentially. I think it really, especially after what he said this week and going back to what we just talked about a few minutes ago, like he made like, I think he will continue winning as long as he like doesn't care about golf but still cares enough to like beat these guys because
to show up.
Yeah. Like if he shows up and cares, he's so mentally strong, and that's what matters. 10 straight times he's had the 54-hole lead, he wins. Like a vast majority of the time, the reason we have strokes gained dog is because most people lose the lead when they're in the final round. Even good players, even guys with dog, don't win every single time. Scottie's now just in a state of mind where he wins every single time. But what if he just was like, he told us himself this week that like it really doesn't matter to him that much, and that he would leave the game in a second if there was other things in his life that like came up. To me, that's the only way that I would say that he doesn't get to at least 7 majors. I think I would say my over under for him right now is 7.5. And I think the only way the under happens is if he truly just is like, nah, like this is stupid. This doesn't matter.
Wow, that's big. Earlier in the year, you were in the camp that he was not going to be an opensman. He was never going to get one, or it was going to be hard for him to get one.
To be fair, that was true. I did say that. I didn't know they were playing TBC. So I should have researched before that take, but that is true. I did believe that on a normal links test, Scottie, until he wins one either, and as well, like I'm not sure that this one I'm going to give it to him, but I just wanted to say that.
Okay, fair. But yeah, no, I think that's a fair take. If he retired, like I'd be shocked, but I wouldn't be like it wouldn't be that shocked. Like, all right, he's got to go to church. I get it.
Do your thing, crazy things have already happened to Scottie. He got arrested. He sliced his hand on the wine bottle. Like, who knows? Like, I hope. I wish. Like, I respect Scottie's game so much. Obviously, it's truly unbelievable what he does. But you have to like really be, I would say, like a golf fan to like care to just watch Scottie win by 10 shots. When Tiger won by 10 shots, people were sitting there tuned in. Like, can he win by 11? Can he win by 12? Like, can this man win by 20 shots? Like, what is he capable of? Like, crush him, Tiger. No one has ever said that about Scottie, except even his family wouldn't say that. They're too nice. Like, that's not even something. His family doesn't want him to win by that many strokes.
Yeah.
His family, by the
No,
way.
I agree.
I know, like, on TV that they get hyped up as like the nicest people ever. They are. Like, anyone who's
Can
ever
confirm.
come across the Schefflers in any capacity are like just truly the nicest people that have ever existed.
Like, they had absolutely no business asking me like questions about my day to day when I see them like on the West Coast and like my work and stuff. Shout out to Schefflers, truly nice people, and anyone watching this that's been there will totally agree. So, what a family, what a guy.
Shout out to Schefflers. But like, it's just a different experience with Scottie, and if he went on, I just don't like how. Who's going to stop Scottie? He keeps getting better every year, and the rest of these guys. Can we just? This is. We'll get to the 3M for like
Who's
5
gonna stop?
maybe
Yeah.
at the end of this pod. But when you think about like what Scottie's future could look like, part of it comes from who's seriously competing with Scottie right now. Like, Rory's done with golf effectively. He's going to try again at Pebble in 2027 and at the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
Like, he's already told us that, unless something changes. Xander
The answer is probably Bryson. The answer is probably Bryson. Truly, it's Bryson or Ryan Gerard on Bermuda. Two options.
Gerard is making everything.
It's like, of course, now he wants to make everything. I bet you like every 3 weeks.
But would like the only places I can see Bryson beating Scottie are at Nuke Central golf courses.
I will say, shout out Bryson for the comeback. You're a good golfer. I know it's an easy golf course. It's still not a Bryson golf course. That was a good fight after round 1.
I agree with that.
And he cares so much. Like, on grit determination, I think the answer might be Bryson.
I have also a live.
He needs to get back in the PGA Tour. They got to figure it out because they are all unserious.
Shout out to you for fading the live golfers the entire major season. I questioned your tactics at the time, and I was wrong. They're
so unserious. They're so unserious.
I have a take on that too, because there was not a debate. Some people were like chatting in the Discord about the fact that DJ looked the best at boots that we'd ever seen from him. Because the only time we've seen DJ at boots is when he's been on live and he's been on Sirius, and he literally hits it off the planet every single shot. We saw DJ kind of striping, and then people were like, he doesn't care. Like, does it even matter that he's striping? I believe, having seen the live guys in practice rounds at majors, that's the only time I see them, besides when they're playing. Obviously, on live, we watch all the events, but I don't see them any other.
JCB week, right?
Oh yeah, it's serious stuff this week on live in the UK. True test, but maybe the Open is going to be given out this week at the JCB. But we'll I would agree that on like an average week on live, or like just on their day to day, they don't care that much about golf. However, when they get to the major venues, the competitiveness that made them who they are, what made Dustin Johnson the #1 golfer in the world and capable of having all the success that he did, there's got to be like a competitiveness to that person. He gets to the major practice rounds and grinds so hard, but he's not capable of finding it because he hasn't been giving that level of consistency throughout the season. And so I don't think it's that when people say they don't care, like, they don't care consistently, but when you see them there at practice, every single one of the live guys is grinding as hard as they possibly can. It's just the baseline for most of them has fallen off so much.
No, it's like when you playing with your buddies all August and you really find it come the end of August, but you just don't play enough to really play serious enough golf to compete with your buddies and beat your 4 handicap friend, because you don't play serious enough golf. You don't play enough golf, and too little too late. Like, you're grinding for the major weeks. It's not going to cut it. You got to be doing it all week, all year round to beat the top guys all year round.
And Bryson does that. And I think that's the point that you're making. Yeah. I did see Colt tweeted that a major live golfer is switching their caddy. What if it's Rahm?
If it's Rahm,
what if it's Griner on Rahm's
potential emergency pod. It might
If
be a 15-minute like press green set type
oh,
style deal.
if Griner goes on Rom's bag, that would be one of their best calls ever.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would still say it's like 2% chance, but that would be
That would be sick. I would say I'll go back to the single B. Single B's off this week, by the way.
okay.
He's gonna win. He's not
He won
gonna
your
win.
last.
I know.
But like, okay, so oh man, Tommy. I just when I pulled up the list of golfers just to get like a list of who could potentially stop Scottie, because I was gonna say like JT, for example. Watching JT the first 2 rounds in the featured groups, he will never beat Scottie.
Never.
He made more mistakes on the front 9 on Thursday than Scottie will make for the rest of the year. Like,
listen, JT, you're a good golfer. You're good at what you do. You're a good golfer. You're not the best. You'll never be the top 5 golfer in the world.
he could be if he the one time he had a serious Scottie on his back, he won. He's 1 for 1 this year with serious Scottie on his back. Why would he not switch? It doesn't make any sense.
Oh my god, it's yeah.
Colin
Minister must have some dirt on him. He has to.
Colin lost to Scottie in the first 2 rounds in the same group by 18 shots. He's never won a golf tournament when Scottie has been never. This has been the Colin. We've had this take forever. It is yet to come back to not be true. The man has not won a golf tournament that featured this version of Scottie Scheffler since ever. The Colin's last meaningful win was the Open in 2021 and then the DP World Tour Championship. Obviously, that's meaningful. Shout out Nikolai.
God, Colin won that.
But he hasn't won since. So he's never beaten Scottie ever in this version of Scottie. And he just lost by 18 strokes in the opening 2 rounds, and Scottie won the tournament easily. What's going through Colin's mind right now?
What's going through Billy Foster's mind right now? I'm glad that's over.
He probably like I'm sure Colin paid him like a flat fee, but what a disappointing 2 weeks for Billy.
Yeah, like Matt Fitz almost wins 2 weeks in a row, and then he's stuck here with the miserable Colin, who's making videos of Grant Horvat now. Tough scene in the Colin camp. Real tough scene.
Fitz would have mixed harder with Billy on the back.
I would say by a small percentage, but I like what Fitz is doing. I like his confidence. Like we talked about this. Like when Fitz is confident, you see it. Like he's one of the most like night and day confident versus non-confident players.
When he's confident,
he's intimidated by Chris Goddard for sure. Because Goddard owns the Jersey Shore. Fitz wants to.
I got a question on Goddard in a second. That'll actually lead nicely to the 3M. But Fitz was first tee to green at the Scottish. And he was where did it go? What am I looking at? Disregard what I was gonna say. I lost it.
Fitz tee to green at
Fitz tee to green. No, I like the stat that I was gonna say was not the stat I was thinking of. But okay. Fitz was second last week at Portrush. Tee to green. And he's just dialed across the bag again. Like, how does Fitzy finish off the year? Because he is good again. And he's got but he also sometimes doesn't.
Yeah, Cave Valley it's a good spot for Fitz, in my opinion. I could see that. I could see that. I wouldn't say I'm chasing anything yet, but when Fitz is good, he's good.
And that's why I was kind of excited in the final round to see, going into the weekend, what Fitz battle against Scottie would be, because we've seen Fitz win battles.
He played fine on Saturday. He didn't play bad.
No, he couldn't putt. And that's what he said after. No. Maybe this was what I was going to say. Like in the 3rd round, tee to green, he missed so many shorties. He was striping throughout the week. And then from out of the gates he 3-putted on Saturday, the very first hole. He was chipping beyond belief also. He had 2 chip-ins that were...
The 16 was insane. It was lucky, but insane.
It reminded me, the reason I thought Matt Fitz was going to win after he did that was because it reminded me at Brookline when he chipped it down the hill on hole number 12, and you didn't boots that course, but you can imagine what was going on in my brain when I had seen a green, like basically vertical was like how tilted it was from back to front.
God.
And it was absolute lightning. And he flopped it on the green and it rolled for like 25 seconds and went dead in the center. And then he was like fist pumping like crazy behind the greens. And then in the final round, he made like a 70-footer across the green. When Fitz wins, magic usually he's able to conjure up magic, and I was like, if he could conjure up magic to defeat Scottie, what would that look like? What would that mean? Didn't even come close.
Didn't even come close. Not at all. But shout out Fitz, you're finding it. You're definitely finding it.
It's great, and yeah, he's fun to watch. He gives good interviews.
Yeah, I love his like inside takeaway over the top move. It's super unique and fun to watch. So confident. Picks up the tee after. How quick after he hits it does he pick up the tee?
Before he finishes the backswing, he's picking up the tee. Like
it's like Kevin but with the driver.
He stripes. I'm just looking through the Open, see if there's I didn't want to touch on Lowry, because this is another take that we've had that has come full circle. We've talked about the fact that like this man, why is he so angry? Like, it's calmed, everything's fine.
Bro, you're
and
good.
For him, two things. There's a mural of him. You can see it from the course. The town of people painted a mural of you, and you are gonna yell "fuck this place," like in that moment. And then, secondly, he gets his ball clearly moved in the rough. There's no debate. His ball clearly moved. Everybody saw it. And sure, bad luck because he's on camera. He also got penalized at Oakmont for picking up his ball without marking it. How many players ever have been penalized twice in back-to-back majors for like these types of rules infractions? Like not a swing-related rules infraction, like one of these rules. It's how are you going to come out and say that you're taking the penalty so people don't talk shit about you on social media? What are you talking? Like, what are you talking about?
I did not hear that. That's crazy. But like, what are you saying about fuck this place? Like, you have the mural, paint it black,
paint over it.
Yeah, you don't deserve that.
I agree that they should paint over it. Like you muralize a man, and he treats you like that.
Imagine getting muralized. That would be sick.
No, but like, you couldn't ask for something better than for somebody to paint a mural of you. Have you ever seen that before at any boots we've done? You've done?
No.
Ever? Have you ever been to any golf course where there's a giant mural near the front of it?
No.
Probably, maybe, but not one of the winner of the Open.
No, I don't think so. There's not even a mural, a painted mural of Rory outside of Hollywood. There's pictures. There's no mural. He deserves a mural.
Rory built a gym to honor his legacy.
Yeah.
Like, he really did.
The
gym at Hollywood is beyond belief. It's
Real
tremendous.
deal. What a clubhouse, man. What a clubhouse, Port Stew, too. Shout out. I mean, the real golf was played at Port Stew this past weekend, because you know who played Port Stew on Saturday?
Who?
Richard Tedder.
Oh my God.
Played Port Stew in the wins.
But yeah, I just had to say that about Lowry. Like,
oh my God.
They muralized you. Like, they love you. It's not their fault you're hitting it. You can't hit your driver. No one else in the field was hitting that bad of a drive. That was probably in a bottom 5% drive of the whole day. They should be wondering. They should be saying, "Fuck you. We're taking your mural down."
Yeah,
your driver.
It's fairways, dude. Put the orange shaft in.
Yeah, are you joking me, Shane? Like, you're not going to birdie every hole? What a loser! Like,
yeah, what a loser.
Go both ways.
I thought you won this event.
I was just so like shocked. I wasn't shocked because we know this is what Lowry does. I was like sad because I was just like, why is this man doing this?
I think someone may have tweeted. He said like "fuck this place" or something adjacent in like 3 of the 4 majors this year.
Yeah, there's
could have been 4, but 3 or 4, I think.
But that's just another guy who strokes gain mentality. Like, you're not going to beat Scottie with like playing like that. No chance. No. The only guys who have beaten Scottie, besides JJ Spawn, but JJ's calm. JJ played nice.
He did play nice. He did really play nice. Shout out JJ. Good golfer, Ryder Cupper.
The Højgaards remain hilarious. We said before the week, or I think we only said this to each other there, that the Højgaards both had long hair for the first time. And could that be the first time?
First time they ever played well.
I was so disappointed I didn't tweet it because top 20 for both of them. They did it.
Has that ever happened before? Maybe
Probably
outside
not.
of the DP, maybe. Probably not. We should fact check that.
Not a major for sure.
Oh, definitely on a major. But
It was the
blindly
first.
betting the Horgards in the forever is just a good idea. Are they in the field this week?
No, another missed opportunity.
What?
Another missed opportunity. We talked about this last year. The most DP thing of all DP things, and there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them.
Is that all the best golfers in the world are in the backyard of the DP for the only 2 weeks, and right now the only 1 week of the entire calendar year. And the DP plays all over the world all year long. But there's not another event, Jers, not this week, not next week. 3 weeks from now is the next time that the DP is playing a tournament. How do these things happen?
It makes no sense. Like everyone's there. I would have a sick event this week. And
whoever, like, call up, if you're the DP, you have to call up the biggest sponsor that you have. Call Hero. Call whoever. Call it, like, and say, guys, what if we hosted a signature or like the Rolex series on the DP event with like let's do like what's the BMW PGA purse? 9 million, 10 million purse this week on a links course that's sick. It seems like the most easy thing that would ever happen.
And that would be and beyond M. That would be unreal. I don't know. I didn't know there was no DP event, honestly. I was like kind of looking at the schedule on the side and didn't see that. That's crazy. And they're not playing, and the Horgards are not playing the 3M. Tough scene. No Horgards playing now.
But the DP's not playing next week either. It's like, what of all the weeks to not have 2 events? These, if I could pick any,
Liv's got it figured out. Liv knows how to schedule for what it's worth. They got to figure it out.
They definitely know how to schedule better than the DP. Going Valderrama, which was a firm and fast test, didn't end up being necessary because there wasn't a firm and fast test at Portrush, and then playing Live UK, that makes sense. But getting all these guys, because if there's a bunch of like mid-level, I feel like tour players who would stay over and play a big money event on the DP.
Yeah, for sure, and it'd be a great watch.
JT, those types of guys who like are basically need all the money and points they can get because they need them.
Scottie would take off, but that's fine, and everyone else would play.
They already have signature events on the PGA Tour the week after majors, and so like I don't know.
It'd be a great way for the DP to get their name out there.
Where do you stand on Gotterup Ryder Cup?
I'm one of the biggest Gotterup fans, probably, right? And
you've been a loyal Gotterup supporter.
Yeah, since the beginnings. I really think the discourse of recency bias is one hell of a drug is so funny in our spaces because, yeah, the dude's playing good golf. The dude has had 2 great weeks. Does that deserve a Ryder Cup spot? I don't think so. I truthfully don't. We cannot discount what everyone was saying the same thing about Ben Griffin. Ben Griffin's on the team. Like, whatever happens more recent is the new thing. And I think Gotterup's smart. He could have probably taken this week off after the long week at the 3M. It's a great golf course for him. Keep getting points because he knows it's a possibility now. He's got his name into the hat. He's like 20-something in the standing, and people are like, yeah, he's a lock for the team. Like he's not a lock, but he deserves to be on the team. I don't think he deserves to be on the team just yet. It's 2 great weeks of golf. Keep it going. Let's see. We would love to have you on the team. Bring the Jersey Shore vibes to New York. But I think as of now, Chris Gotterup does not deserve to be on the Ryder Cup team.
Okay. My take is that, first of all, I am standing by that if Ben Griffin's not on the team, I'm rooting for Europe. But I say that because now people are saying that.
Better year.
But now people are saying it's like BG versus Gotterup. They both should be on the team. BG already has 2 top 10s in majors. Like, he was just as hot. He was more hot than Gotterup was literally just a few weeks ago, and finished in the top 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight weeks with a win at the Charles Schwab second, battled Scottie legitimately at Muirfield
Village. One of the only real battles.
Yeah. And Scottie and him looked like a potential duo that could pair at the Ryder Cup. Both of their games make sense. Generational bombers off of the tee. Why would we just shoe in spots for
Pat?
And Pat, how many top 10s and majors did Colin have this year? None. How many top 10s in majors did Pat have this year?
This career.
None. Yeah, we have to go back to the last one. We have to combine the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 majors to give Pat 2 top 10s. And BG already has that this year, and Goddard just won and then finished runner up or finished third at the Open. Why is it a debate? Why wouldn't we want the best golfers on the team? Europe would take the best golfers. They don't give a fuck.
No, I think Keegan would take Keegan for someone getting backlash, not making the team. I think Keegan would do something crazy. And we saw Keegan and Pat playing together, but I think that was a big pandering thing. Like, where you guys are playing, you're playing together. Let's see how I. But Keegan also might have got swayed from the generational practice round Cantlay. So it's a.
Do you think
we'll see.
Keegan ended up looking at how Pat played, or do you think he just based on how hard he was striping in practice?
Probably the latter, practice.
Pat is a liability on the greens right now.
Yeah,
he's a serious liability.
Northeast Bent though.
Like, what are the standings? It's like it's a bit that you have to do because everybody loves the Ryder Cup, and I love the Ryder Cup too. But like, we debate the teams so much, and then things like Chris Goddard pop up and
I'm
change.
gonna read them to you, or do you see him? I got him.
Yeah, read them to me, and I'll like
Scottie, Xander, JJ. How was Xander too? Scottie, Xander, JJ, Russ, Bryson, Harris, top 6. JT, Colin, BG, Keegan 10, Mav 11, Harmon 12, Novak PC.
In majors does JT have this year? None.
I'm gonna say none.
Maverick has done nothing since
Started off hot.
He doesn't even have a win. Remember, he lost to a European, Lude, at Torrey, so he doesn't have any major top 10s this year. I just don't understand
who deserves to be on the European Ryder Cup team.
Talk about strokes game. Another guy who was supposed to be the next like person to challenge Scottie, and he's legitimately not good at golf anymore. And it's like,
yeah, like Chris Goddard was 22nd in the Ryder Cup standings. It's a great, like, he's behind Daniel Berger, Tom Hoagie, Cam Young, Lucas Glover. It's a great 2 weeks of golf. Slow your jets. Slow your jets. From the biggest Chris Goddard fan, maybe on the earth. Slow your jets.
I take back what I said about a tiny bit about Ludd. Like, he's been all green Xander his last 2 starts, but his problem is strokes gained caddy. If Scottie, we've saw it, the one before Ludd came back down to earth when he was generationally striping last year, when he almost mixed at the Masters. He did mix at the Masters. He lost because he hooked it in the water, something Scottie would never do. Now he's not as good, and he hasn't got his strokes gained caddy figured out.
Yeah.
What if Ted was on Ludd's bag? That would be a problem. Because Ludd would listen. That's the difference. Rory doesn't care enough to listen. Ludd listens to. Ludd doesn't think for anything for himself. He only does what he's told, but what he's being told doesn't make sense. Correct. And isn't accurate. You give him Ted. That might be the most lethal combination.
Yeah, because I mean, what happened at Oakmont would never happen with Ludd and Ted. So, that'd be a great combo.
Major season's behind us, Jers. We won't get to talk about it again. We had to give it an hour and 15 minutes. But there's golf this week. Live UK is this week, Jers. Who do you like? You're not going to the single bullet. Who is the play across the P?
You know who played really nice at Live UK last year? Just keep striping. Paul Casey. Home game. You did bet him out. He finished pretty nice.
He up there. I've never bet Paul Casey, and he hasn't mixed. He's also never won. Generational mixer, generational non-winner.
I like the conditions for Live UK for just high strokes gained approach guys. I think the fairways are fairly easier to hit, in my opinion. Just get hot on the greens, make birdies, and stuff it close. I liked Cam Smith here last year. He played okay, I believe. I think he finished in the top 5.
Box performance I've ever seen was Cam Smith here last year.
Yeah, I don't think I can go back to him because I actually slandered Cam Smith on Twitter this week. I'm going to go with guys who are really good on approach. So, like John Rahm. Just kidding.
But I think, truly, the Skipper Headers, what the people are here for is the 3M. Cheers. And we have to talk about it because it's here. And when you do a golf pod and the 3M's here, you dig in. you go deep on what takes place at the 3M. What's your history at the 3M? Have you hit a winner at the 3M? Have you mixed at the 3M? Do you feel like you know what to do at the 3M? How confident are you going into the 3M at TBC Twin Cities in Blaine, Minnesota?
Honestly, I don't think I've ever mixed at the 3M, like hard mix at all. But I'm gonna go with long drivers, good long iron players, and birdie makers, big card. I think it's a volatile event, but a predictably volatile event. What is your take?
I think it's a little bit more distance and accuracy than just distance. Like you can't be just a bomber who sprays it. You need to be a bomber who's at least around like field accuracy. Like Vegas, a guy who when he's striping is just striping it down the middle. Hodges, when he gets hot, generational long and straight driver. Tony, when he's hot, generational long and straight driver. Like you see these guys win by like spiking a shit ton on approach, but they spike a shit ton on approach because their driving is so good. Like this is a place where you can set up more attackable iron shots that you can hit closer to the pin, spike your iron play numbers due to ultimately just setting yourself up better off the tee. And I think you need some accuracy or else you give that up by hitting in the rough and you can't attack with your irons from there.
Yeah, I need a 25 on Maverick. Start the card.
He's got a good history here, but you're not going to get 25, I think.
Really? Okay. I saw Goddard open at 16 last night on DraftKings, but it's already drifted. It's a great golf course for Chris Goddard, if we're being honest. And I'm not going to probably get there at that number, but keep those points coming. I mean, after all I just said, I'm rooting for it. I really want him to be on the Ryder Cup team, but I just don't think it's deserved as of if they picked a team today.
And we did just see a white hot Ben Griffin go to the JDC at like his career low odds and not play well.
Yeah.
And yeah, to be fair, up until recently, Goddard was 80, 70, 60 to 1 in events like this, which was another crazy thing about Houtung. Houtung was legitimately 500 to 1 on the DP last year, and then he almost won the Open.
Yeah, I mean, it's truly insane. He goes off at numbers that are never before seen, and then he just does what he does. So, I mean, if also real quick, Live UK, if there was a chart, Lee Westwood would be most tipped, and it'd be so dumb. But we're back.
Westwood is a born Linksman.
Striped last week. Striped.
Truly striped. Like his stats for the first few rounds, they were having to recalibrate the systems. They were like, these are off. Something is broken. But yeah, Goddard's at a price well below where he normally is. The top of the board is Sammy B. Burns, who I'm afraid has turned into a parsman. I support par behavior. I always have. I always will. Bob Mack, another parsman, of course. Truly unfair to Bob Mack that a man who loves Portrush as much as he does had to play in those conditions. He never had a chance in those conditions.
No,
but
Bob Mack would have gotten it done around -4 last week. So easy.
But Burns now just makes so many pars. Like, and he plays good in difficult conditions now, and he like always ends up in like the top 10 when things get tough. That's what happened last year at True, and he got into the final group. He's here. He's 18 to 1. He's on average way better at golf than a vast majority of the people in this tournament. He's played here before. He's played well. Almost won Canada a few weeks ago against a bad field. Could Sam win?
Yeah, I think Sam can win. And I think Sam wants to win like more than anything. So he's playing good golf. He's really gaining off the tee pretty rapidly. I think it's a great golf course for him. So yeah, I think Sam will be around more than the other favorites are probably around.
Sam is a lock for the Ryder Cup team too.
Yeah, Scottie will be like, I'm not playing if Sam's not playing.
And Sam was at least hard mix at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, true. And like 3 events in a row after that.
And he's a great match play player because he putts.
Yeah.
You want
a match play.
Beth Page, if another player. Marcus Sam Burnsdown is another player who, if he's not on the team, I'm rooting for Europe.
Okay. 2 guys.
Right now it's BG and Sam Burns as of July 21st. But I'll stand by. I'm not changing that. I said when I declared that about BG, I said he could miss every cut the rest of the year, and I would stand by this take. So he has missed every cut over the last 2 starts, but I'm sticking by it. Who else is playing in this tournament? Oh, here we go. Mav, you mentioned Windy C, who found life. He finally figured it out over on the links. Grazerman just almost won in Detroit. Driver putter merchant, played well here last year. Generational final round. Christopher Wright in style. Shadow Wright, and also generationally representing the DP. Any of those guys, Siwoo, Pendy, Jake Knapp, Michael
Yeah.
Thompson, any of those names you're going to be looking
Out
to
of
bet.
the top name, I like Mav. I don't know if I can get there with the number. Mike T, I think it's a great golf course for him. And more than anything, I think the buzz has died down a little bit. He was like Giga Chalk at a few events.
35-1 Mike T has died down buzz to you. Mike T is
Yeah,
usually like 100
he
to
was
1.
like no, I think that the narrative around Mike T has died down because he was super chalk at the week before the alt event and then the alt event. Was it John Deere and then was it John Deere? Yeah, it was John Deere.
Yeah, it was at John Deere, but it's because he played good at the Rocket. But before Rocket, his odds were super long. I just think that I agree with you that he's not going to be as popular as he has been.
Yeah.
It's just like it's kind of like Goddard up, where the price is just
I could
significantly
see
below.
Mike T winning at 40 to 1. Like I'd be in at 40 with Mike T. I don't think that's a horrible number for this field. Who do you like in that range? I don't mind Pendy either, the driver putter.
Yeah, I was gonna say Pendy. I think right now, I agree that Mike T can win. I just 35. I don't feel like the lack of chatter for him is reflecting the odds. I would say it's like
Fair.
his odds
Yeah.
are still pretty low. But I do agree that he won't be as popular this week. I
Like,
might
why not?
I might skip this whole range.
Yeah, like there's some nice names down. Like Davey T almost just won again. Good number. Playing fine golf. Out on Davey T?
I'm
Long and straight when he's going well. 45 to 1 winner. One Torrey Pines.
I
I
like
have the
him.
winner though, down in this range. Actually, I'm not gonna say that because that's never once ever worked, and I like him this week. I have a guy that I like in this range.
Who?
Jacob Bridgman, 55, 60 to 1.
I saw you
He
wrote up Bridgman, and I was like, I'm not seeing it. And then I remembered, wasn't he like first round leader? Didn't he generationally stripe for a round here?
I think so. He was all green Xander last time here, and he was all green Xander at the JDC, which is major worthy. And he played comically well at the Memorial in terms of ball striking. I think he's just good at golf. Like I'm willing to buy the ceiling of the young buck, Jacob Bridgman. I think he's better than what I thought he was.
Yeah, I'm think the price is fair enough on Bridges. I'm down.
He can gain 13 putting.
He can do anything,
He can do anything.
and it
It
wouldn't
can't
be.
happen until it happens.
That's what I was going to say. It won't happen until it happens. But once it does, it
Right.
has. And then we know.
Right.
And then we know. So it's like,
You need to get that on a shirt.
shout out. This isn't who I'm actually interested in this week. I don't think. Maybe. Shout out Bez, first round leader at the Open.
Good call.
Played good. He played
I
good.
mean, you get it for you bet someone at whatever 200 to 1 their first round leader. Like you're not complaining.
No, I'm not going to be upset with anything that Bez did. I bet Akshay here last year hit in the water on like every hole. Too much slice.
Way too much slice. Way too
I
much.
remember tracking Akshay at the 3M last year, and every single time I opened the app, he was in either the native area or the hazard. And then he would hit it to like 2 feet, make par time after time after time, but that's not going to get the job done.
No.
At 3M ever.
No. Not at all.
Sungjae, do you have any reports from Willie? Last week, he mouthed to us that Willie is striping once, or that Sungjae is striping once again. We immediately saw Sungjae then hit a shot that was not striped whatsoever. Sungjae didn't stripe. The irons are...
No. Willie's playing Portrush right now, or he played Portrush this morning. He doesn't really. He doesn't care. But they can't take weeks off, which sucks. Once they get a week off, we're gonna get him on the pod. That's confirmed. So
it hasn't been. We've said many times that Willie's the luckiest man, has the best job in the world. It hasn't been that for a while now, and that's what Scottie was saying. Scottie was saying, don't commit yourself when the highs are the highs or the lows are the lows, because none of it matters. And
nothing matters.
Now Willie's seeing the flip side is Sungjae's lost his iron play, but I was going to say maybe he finds it this week, but he's not going to find it this week.
No, can't do it.
Grillo, I've bet Grillo here before. Grillo loves Blaine, Minnesota. When you think of Emiliano Grillo, you think of Blaine, Minnesota. I think he's been top 10 here a couple times.
A lot of water, so he likes it.
He doesn't, of all players in golf, who fears water the least? because I think it might be Grillo, because that man, when he sees a water hazard, he's like, can I land it within 1 inch? He tries to bounce it off the wood paneling like JT does and be like, what if I hit it right there? But he just hits laser beams. He doesn't care.
Him and Siwo would be 1 and 2 in that regard.
So he was in the field. Who finishes higher between Siwoo and Grillo?
I'll go with Grillo. You know what would be crazy? You remember when Grillo won the Charles Schwab and he was like, I've been wanting to win this event for my entire
Yeah, he wasn't going to
life.
retire until he won.
But what if he wins this and then he was like, I would have wanted to win the 3M for so long? We don't know. So like, why not get ahead of it?
Until we knew, and then we'd know forever.
Print the shirts. Print the shirts.
I still haven't found any, like Pendy right now, of all the guys we've talked about so far, probably interests me the most. He played great here last year. He makes all the sense in the world for being good at a course like this. Like if Pendy won, not a single person would be like, oh, how did Pendy win the 3M?
When Pendy mixes, I get like FOMO and I get like nervous that he's gonna pull it out because I think he's just a good golfer and like I'm not on him. You know what I'm saying?
When Pendy plays well, it stresses you out when you're not.
yeah, for sure. Everyone has that one guy, but I do like Lee Hodges to notch another one here.
So
off the bad week.
I don't think I've ever heard you tout a player who's won the event before. Besides, like, honestly, never. Even I know back to back is like foundationally wrong to you, and that's not what this is. But like, I still very rarely have heard you hype up a guy who's won the event before. But Hodges, he could do it.
You know, it's crazy because Hodges, like at the core, what I've been seeing this year, I've been saying since Hawaii, found speed, great driver, and then like he won this event years back. Like it was the blueprint of what he is now, and he's not playing the best golf. He dealt with a little injury. I love him off of a miscut at an alternate event. Numbers going to drift a little bit more than it probably should, and he's mixed. He started the season so good, mixed so hard, and then got hurt. So I don't mind Hodges.
I could see myself getting drawn into Kurt, but I'm not going to.
Don't do it. It's tracking Kurt is very annoying and it never goes well.
Trust me, I was on him at the Black Desert. Everybody remembers.
Everybody remembers the worst beat of all time.
Do you have a statement on Rico Hoey? Because you were on Hoey last week at the Barracuda, and we talked about him for a moment. Shout out Ryan Gerard. We've talked about Gerard a lot on the podcast. The man is a generational tee to green player and truly one of the best golfers of all time, but he has been putting horrendously. He made everything at the Barracuda, and it was one of the easiest wins I've ever seen.
Truly. Like he's playing with Rico Hoey, who might be – is Rico Hoey low dog?
He hit 27 straight fairway. He pulled Tommy. Did you hear what? He hit every fairway in both the second and third rounds, every single one, and then hit it OB on the very first hole.
Extremely low dog. I mean, I felt decent about my Rico bet going into the final round because like Rico's an alt man. Everyone knows he got baked at the ISCO, which is like I don't think that's a low dog thing. I think it's just like
that could happen to anybody. That could have happened to anyone.
Got to. If whoever designs the courses at the ISCOs, if they got the Portrush this week, it could have been a different.
There's allegedly, I didn't know about this. 2 of the holes at Portrush are new holes. Like they invented them recently, like very recently. What? And they I didn't see any holes that were remade that looked. I know they were. I'm not denying the fact that they were remade. I'm denying the fact that it was worth doing because none of the holes were good. 2 new holes.
No, they needed to get in contact with the Louisville, Kentucky course architects
and the family of the guy who designed Troon. At least to get somebody from his extended family involved, because somebody in that family has to have the lineage of that man's thinking.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, but I brought that up because we were talking about Rico Hoey this week.
I got to go to bed early. I went to bed while the leaders were on 15. Off of a week in Ireland, off of my sister's graduation party weekend. I did not sleep at all this week. I was up watching the golf. So thank you, Rico Hoey. I got a good night's rest. I was sleeping by like 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, we're believers that if you're not going to win, eject early. Save the time.
No beef.
Don't do what Tommy did at the Travelers.
Don't
do the opposite of that.
Ever. ever.
Never. Literally, if there's one thing you're never going to do, let it be that. Guys in the 60 to 100, it's basically the whole field, the whole tournament. But I'll just throw out some random names that people might be thinking about this week. Maybe you'll be thinking
How Lee's
about.
in this field. My God.
Yeah, well, Haotong's not going to miss the 3M after that performance.
No, you're right.
How many balls does Haotong get in the water this week? Over under?
Depends how slotted he is. I don't know if the slot will. Actually, I might travel over because my slot traveled over. I played nice after playing the Lynx, so it might travel over. I think he'll hit enough fairways. But betting him would be crazy though. Betting him would be crazy.
Dude, Smalley's completely lost his game. Remember when Smalley
He's so streaky. He's so streaky. You know Smalley. He's so streaky.
Like, I can't do it right now.
No.
I only am a Smalley guy when he's strapping his irons. I never try to guess when Smalley's going to strap his irons. I just wait until he's currently strapping his irons and then ride him while he's hot. And that's not what he's doing.
Yeah. Also, people are going to probably bet Grazerman, not Donnie Ross. Don't bet Grazerman.
Model darling Kevin Roy's in this range. Who in the 60 to 100 range? I mean, Max, one of the most disgraceful. I don't even want to talk about it. Max at the Barracuda.
Is okay, yeah.
I
have no comments.
Negative points in the first round, then shoots basically the low round of the entire tournament in rounds 2 and 3, and then plays horrible in the final round. Like we've said, it's there. The pieces are there for Max. 45 to 1. We've talked about a lot of guys, and none of them have really like excited me that much. There's worse bets.
I'd rather lose money on like guys that I'd rather like lose money on other guys though, like in this range. Like I'd rather lose money on an up and comer like Thorbjornsen or Clanton. I love Clanton this week, man, so much.
I think I'd rather lose my money on Max.
All right,
I might lose my money on Max this week. I'm just deciding in this moment, even though I was disgusted by how we played last week, that I might do it again. But you're saying Clanton is who you love this week.
Yeah, Clanton's really he's Gerarding right now. He's hitting the ball fine. It's not the elite driving we saw last year, but it's not bad driving. And he played well here last year, I believe. And he's just putting so bad.
Who wins more times globally between Ryan Gerard and Luke Clanton and Michael Theo Brunson?
Wow. I think it's going to be between Gerard and Clanton. Because they're both going to play well in Florida. But Gerard could win. He could win four Florida events. There was someone else that we said was going to win all 4 Florida events early in the season. I forget who it was. But I think it's going to be between Gerard and Clanton.
Gerard's so good.
I love his swing so much. That's a repeatable swing. It's so short. It's compact and powerful.
It's like Rahm a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
He said that he was inspired by BG. He was like, I couldn't let BG like outdo me. I needed to win.
Obvious. Who wouldn't be inspired by BG? I'm inspired by BG to wake up every morning. That's obviously Gerard's inspired by BG to win a golf tournament. So shout out the Tar Heels.
I think who wins more between BG and Gerard?
Great question. That's a great question. I think it's a true coin flip. A true coin flip. I can't even give you an answer.
I don't understand why Gerard's so bad at putting. Like obviously he was white hot last week, but his stroke looks good and he was making everything.
It could have been a blip. It really could have been a blip. Like he's hitting it too well and he was forcing it. Maybe he was hitting the ball so well.
Remember Scottie used to say that before Scottie decided that he was actually bad at putting and he needed to improve it. And he was thinking too much about it when he was saying that like he was hitting the ball too good for his putting to be good. Maybe that's what was happening to Gerard.
Which I understand. Like you don't just wake up and hit that well. Also, I was going to say earlier when you said if they played an Open with Hickories, it'd be Glover and Gerard as the number 1 and 2 favorites because they can't miss us under the club face if they tried.
Glover was striving beyond belief for a while there.
Yeah.
Random Euro of the week. We're back from across the P. Fresh. Did all of our random Euros make the cut? Did Kimsey play the weekend? I believe that he did.
He did play with Bryson.
I believe John Parry had an ace. Your Flusher's favorite flusher, John Parry, with an ace. Special moment. So I feel like from a random Euro of the Week perspective, we're doing all right.
Wait, was Nathan Kimsey my pick last week?
No, I picked Kimsey and you picked Sadia. Did he make the cut?
Oh,
Made the cut. T52.
let's go.
So they haven't been mixing, but they've been making the cut. And we're
all you
on
can
these
ask for
truly
during
rando
Euro.
Euros of the Week. We're back now at the 3M. Do you feel like there's never been... It's been 5 Americans and Johnny Vegas, the winners of the 3M.
This is a very American golf course, if I'm being honest. Water, drive it long. Chris Ventura.
Ventura's your random Year of the Week?
Yeah. This is definitely a good golf course for him.
Mine is a guy who's his odds have his odds have really gone. I don't know if I can pick him. I'm gonna do the right thing here. This was going to be my random Year of the Week, but it's not like in the triple digits, so I'm not going to claim it. Jesper Svensson is striping his irons. Just make note.
You don't got to tell me to bet Jesper Svensson. He might be a Bermuda guy, but you don't got to tell me to bet Jesper Svensson.
3 straight events getting on approach. Just keep note of that. But he's below. So I can't pick him. I will go with also Antoine Rosner. Cut. Have we ever seen if we ever seen anything like this? Has anyone ever made as many cuts in a row as Antoine Rosner?
Is he in the camp to break Tiger's record? Would you be surprised
if he set the record for most made cuts in a row?
I think I think he could do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why he couldn't. My random Euro of the Week is going to be a man who I bet I bet him many times on the DP unsuccessfully, but this one time I bet him successfully was at a water-laden golf course at the KLM Open. Victor Perez is my random Euro of the Week, Cheers.
Remember when Victor Perez made that shot? Was that at Yas Links?
Yeah. The greatest bunker shot of all time?
Yeah, the greatest bunker shot of all time, Victor Perez. That was incredible stuff.
How
do we have the worst beats? That was so insane.
That was the most shocking thing that's happened against me in ever sweating a bet. The man hit a greenside bunker shot that landed 20 feet beyond the pin, bounced forward twice, and then zipped backwards like an iron shot from like 120 yards. I've never seen it happen ever before and ever since, and it went directly in the middle of the hole, rolling backwards towards him as he's running around like having the greatest celebration of all time.
That also greatest bunker shot of all time, Martin Laird Shriner's worst lie of all. You know what I'm talking about? Hacked at it. Everybody knows, went right in. What a week that was. The Desert Fox.
He's been playing better. I bet Laird at the ISCO. They kept showing him on the broadcast.
How could you not?
Shout out to Subs. Super fringe mixed for us at the Barracuda.
He did. He was there on Saturday. Good golfer. 120-1. I don't know if this is the best super golf course, though.
He'll hit in the water a lot. When you think about guys this week, you need to think about guys who will hit in the water a lot. Is 18? There's not going to be any wind during the tournament, but 18 approach at the 3M is one of the best approaches on the PGA Tour.
The 3M is fun. Like over the weekend, it is fun. Yeah, I do like this event. Remember when DJ played the 3M and he was on the cut line, he hit it out of the water by so far on 18 because he just had to be there for the 3M sponsor. There might be a few guys like this week that are like that.
Who do you think's most there for the sponsor this week?
Most there for that's a great
Ricky.
Most there for the sponsor.
Ricky's playing better.
Yeah. I'll say, like, why is Adam Scott playing this event?
Fair question. That's
maybe
a very fair question.
Yeah. Why is Adam Scott like grinding this event?
Adam Scott said that he doesn't care about random tournaments either, and then he plays a lot of random tournaments.
Yeah.
He's on the cusp of the FedEx. He needs to do something, I think.
Yeah.
They that tweet of the claret jug with the Comcast Business Top 10 overlaid on top of it was one of the worst things.
Criminal.
That was a tough scene. Feel bad for the jug. But Jers, that's the 3M. Any final thoughts on the 3M? When people go away from this pod an hour and 40 minutes in, and shout out and thank you to everybody always who listen and support the pod, support the site. We can't do this without you, and we appreciate you so much. When they walk away in this moment, what do you want them to remember about the three?
Enjoy tracking it on the app because I know you're not going to be watching it, but enjoy your sweats. Don't get too caught up if your guy's not too off the lead after round one. A lot can happen, and just don't hit it in the water. 3M Open.
There you have it. Live UK this week as well. Women's majors on the horizon, Jerds. Women's Open is at Royal Portclaw.
Yeah,
There's,
something like that in Wales.
Yeah, which is sick. Wales.
Scottish Open this week, I believe.
It is. Wales is the final piece of the UK that we have not set foot on. We need to get
soon.
We need to get an Open over there. Also, there might be an Open in Ireland they were talking about outside of Dublin at Portmarnock. That's on the horizon. All I ask is that the RNA thinks of the sickest golf courses that they can think of.
They had a bad week, and it started on the practice rounds. They had a rough week, but you get better. Not every week's gonna be perfect. They've had 153 of these. Something has to rank 150th, and this one did.
Yeah, I agree. Not the best week for the RNA, but I'm extremely confident in what lies ahead. But I hope that they take this as a moment to think about challenge the golfers and give us sick reviews. We can have both.
Yeah.
Let's have both.
Please.
They're talking about it, if they can have the fans there. We'll get there. We'll find a way. We'll be there. We'll watch. It'll be fine.
We'll get there.
Jerry, thank you so much. I'll talk to you later.
Peace.